We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. I can resist everything except temptation. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Men always want to be a woman's first love, and women like to be a man's last romance. Experience is simply the name we give our mistakes. Nowadays, people know the price of everything and the value of nothing. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. Man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask and he will tell you the truth. Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. The world is a stage, but the play is badly cast. He has no enemies but is intensely disliked by his friends. I may not agree with you, but I will defend to the death your right to make an ass of yourself. Some things are more precious because they don't last long. I am the only person in the world I should like to know thoroughly. If you are not long, I will wait for you all my life. An idea that is not dangerous is unworthy of being called an idea at all. A little sincerity is a dangerous thing, and a great deal of it is absolutely fatal. I am a dreamer. For a dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. We are each our own devil, and we make this world our hell. I have never given adoration to anybody except myself. Never love anyone who treats you like you're ordinary. The most terrible thing about it is not that it breaks one's heart. Hearts are made to be broken, but that it turns one's heart to stone. The mystery of love is greater than the mystery of death. Keep love in your heart. A life without it is like a sunless garden when the flowers are dead. Everything in the world is about sex, except sex. Sex is about power. The very essence of romance is uncertainty. If ever I get married, I'll certainly try to forget the fact. You can help me, for love is always with you, and love is stronger than death is. Romance should never begin with sentiment. It should begin with science and end with a settlement. You don't love someone for their looks, or their clothes, or for their fancy car, but because they sing a song only you can hear. The consciousness of loving and being loved brings a warmth and a richness to life that nothing else can bring. There is always something ridiculous about the emotions of people whom one has ceased to love. It takes great courage to see the world in all its tainted glory, and still to love it. And even more courage to see it in the one you love. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. A pessimist is somebody who complains about the noise when opportunity knocks. Experience is one thing you can't get for nothing. Ordinary riches can be stolen. Real riches cannot. In your soul are infinitely precious things that cannot be taken from you. I am not young enough to know everything. The nicest feeling in the world is to do a good deed anonymously and have somebody find out. One should always play fairly when one has the winning cards. I never put off till tomorrow what I can possibly do the day after. Success is a science. If you have the conditions, you get the result. The only difference between the saint and the sinner is that every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. Ambition is the last refuge of the failure. The old believe everything, the middle-aged suspect everything, the young know everything. No man is rich enough to buy back his past. A gentleman is one who never hurts anyone's feelings unintentionally. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. Anyone who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. Do not wait for life to be picturesque, but try and see life under picturesque conditions. We live in an age when unnecessary things are our only necessities. Selfishness is not living as one wishes to live. It is asking others to live as one wishes to live. Life is far too important a thing ever to talk seriously about. Life is never fair, and perhaps it is a good thing for most of us that it is not. Paradoxically though it may seem, it is nonetheless true that life imitates art far more than art imitates life. The aim of life is self-development, to realize one's nature perfectly. That is what each of us is here for. I put all my genius into my life. I put only my talent into my works. Life has been your art. You have set yourself to music. Your days are your sonnets. One's real life is so often the life that one does not lead. It is better to live in a city of changeable weather than in a city of lovely surroundings.
Life is not complex. We are complex. Life is simple, and the simple thing is the right thing. Women are meant to be loved, not to be understood. A man's face is his autobiography. A woman's face is her work of fiction. When a man has once loved a woman, he will do anything for her except continue to love her. All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does, and that is his. Women are never disarmed by compliments. Men always are. That is the difference between the sexes. Crying is for plain women. Pretty women go shopping. Women love us for our defects. If we have enough of them, they will forgive us everything, even our gigantic intellects. I like men who have a future and women who have a past. How can a woman be expected to be happy with a man who insists on treating her as if she were a perfectly normal human being? After a good dinner, one can forgive anybody, even one's own relations. One should never trust a woman who tells one her real age, a woman who would tell one that would tell one anything. Woman begins by resisting a man's advances and ends by blocking his retreat. No woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. Women have a much better time than men in this world. There are far more things forbidden to them. A man can be happy with any woman as long as he does not love her. As long as a woman can look 10 years younger than her own daughter, she is perfectly satisfied. A man who does not think for himself does not think at all. A good friend will always stab you in the front. Anybody can sympathize with the sufferings of a friend, but it requires a very fine nature to sympathize with a friend's success. Between men and women there is no friendship possible. There is passion, enmity, worship, love, but no friendship. I choose my friends for their good looks, my acquaintances for their good characters, and my enemies for their good intellects. Laughter is not at all a bad beginning for a friendship, and it is by far the best ending for one. I don't want to go to heaven. None of my friends are there. The only thing to do with good advice is pass it on. It is never any use to oneself. I have nothing to declare except my genius. To get back my youth, I would do anything in the world, except take exercise, get up early, or be respectable. I like persons better than principles, and I like persons with no principles better than anything else in the world. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I am saying. I love to talk about nothing. It's the only thing I know anything about. They've promised that dreams can come true, but forgot to mention that nightmares are dreams too. The public is wonderfully tolerant. It forgives everything except genius. My own business always bores me to death. I prefer other people's. I don't say we all ought to misbehave, but we ought to look as if we could. Art is the most intense mode of individualism that the world has known. Art is the only serious thing in the world, and the artist is the only person who is never serious. Well, of the young artist who paints nothing but beautiful things, I say he misses one half of the world. To paint what you see is a good rule in art, but to see what is worth painting is better. No great artist ever sees things as they really are. If he did, he would cease to be an artist. A work of art is the unique result of a unique temperament. Every portrait that is painted with feeling is a portrait of the artist, not of the sitter. What you, as painters, have to paint is not things as they are, but things as they seem to be. Not things as they are, but things as they are not. A picture has no meaning but its beauty, no message but its joy. That is the first truth about art that you must never lose sight of. A picture is a purely decorative thing. Whereas you exist as artists not to copy beauty but to create it in your art, to wait and watch for it in nature. What is the difference between absolutely decorative art and a painting? Decorative art emphasizes its material. Imaginative art annihilates it. One should always be in love. That's the reason one should never marry. The one charm about marriage is that it makes a life of deception absolutely necessary for both parties. There is nothing so difficult to marry as a large nose. The world has grown suspicious of anything that looks like a happily married life. Men marry because they are tired. Women, because they are curious. Both are disappointed. I really don't see anything romantic in proposing. It is very romantic to be in love, but there is nothing romantic about a definite proposal. One can survive everything nowadays, except death, and live down everything except a good reputation. A thing is not necessarily true because a man dies for it. It is better to be beautiful than to be good, but it is better to be good than to be ugly. Those who find beautiful meanings in beautiful things are the cultivated. For these there is hope. They are the elect to whom beautiful things mean only beauty. She behaves as if she was beautiful. Most American women do. It is the secret of their charm. Beauty is the only thing that time cannot harm. Philosophies fall away like sand. Creeds follow one another. But what is beautiful is a joy for all seasons, a possession for all eternity. Fashion is a form of ugliness so intolerable that we have to alter it every 6 months. It is what you read when you don't have to that determines what you will be when you can't help it. I'm too fond of reading books to care to write them. No good deed goes unpunished. Quotation is a serviceable substitute for wit. Who, being loved, is poor? To define is to limit. Every woman is a rebel. The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last. A poet can survive everything but a misprint. Only dull people are brilliant at breakfast. Popularity is the one insult I have never suffered. Irony is wasted on the stupid. Alas, I am dying beyond my means. Punctuality is the thief of time. To expect the unexpected shows a thoroughly modern intellect. This wallpaper is dreadful. One of us will have to go. I am sick to death of cleverness. Everybody is clever nowadays. You can never be overdressed or overeducated. I think God, in creating man, somewhat overestimated his ability. In this world, there are only two tragedies. One is not getting what one wants, and the other is getting it. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. It is better to have a permanent income than to be fascinating. Everybody who is incapable of learning has taken to teaching. There is only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. Society often forgives the criminal. It never forgives the dreamer. Hear no evil, speak no evil, and you won't be invited to cocktail parties. A man can't be too careful in the choice of his enemies. Memory is the diary that we all carry about with us. If one plays good music, people don't listen, and if one plays bad music, people don't talk. The true mystery of the world is the visible, not the invisible. I hate people who are not serious about meals. It is so shallow of them. I adore simple pleasures. They are the last refuge of the complex. When the gods wish to punish us, they answer our prayers. The advantage of the emotions is that they lead us astray. Indeed, I have always been of the opinion that hard work is simply the refuge of people who have nothing to do. A cynic is a man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. Morality is simply the attitude we adopt towards people we personally dislike. The good ended happily, and the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means. The man who can dominate a London dinner table can dominate the world. Arguments are to be avoided. They are always vulgar and often convincing. A bore is someone who deprives you of solitude without providing you with company. Most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions, their lives a mimicry, their passions a quotation. Music makes one feel so romantic. At least it always gets on one's nerves, which is the same thing nowadays. Pessimist, one who, when he has the choice of two evils, chooses both. If there was less sympathy in the world, there would be less trouble in the world. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. If I am occasionally a little overdressed, I make up for it by being always immensely overeducated. I have the simplest tastes. I am always satisfied with the best. America is the only country that went from barbarism to decadence without civilization in between. There are many things that we would throw away if we were not afraid that others might pick them up. Do you really think it is weakness that yields to pleasures? I tell you that there are terrible temptations which it requires strength, and courage to yield to. To lose one parent may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. One of the many lessons that one learns in prison is that things are what they are and will be what they will be. You will always be fond of me. I represent to you all the sins you never had the courage to commit. I love acting. It is so much more real than life. We shall all suffer for what the gods have given us, suffer terribly. I am tired of myself tonight. I should like to be somebody else. The only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it. She is more than an individual. I love her, and I must make her love me. I want to make Romeo jealous. Sin is a thing that writes itself across a man's face. It cannot be concealed. Children begin by loving their parents. As they grow older, they judge them. Sometimes they forgive them. I have grown to love secrecy. It seems to be the one thing that can make modern life mysterious or marvelous to us. She is very clever, too clever for a woman. She lacks the indefinable charm of weakness. Live the wonderful life that is in you. Let nothing be lost upon you. Be always searching for new sensations. Be afraid of nothing. Whenever a man does a thoroughly stupid thing, it is always from the noblest motives. Humanity takes itself too seriously. It is the world's original sin. If the caveman had known how to laugh, history would have been different. I don't want to be at the mercy of my emotions. I want to use them, to enjoy them, and to dominate them. You must have a cigarette. A cigarette is the perfect type of a perfect pleasure. It is exquisite, and it leaves one unsatisfied. What more can one want? I knew nothing but shadows, and I thought them to be real. We women, as someone says, love with our ears, just as you men love with your eyes. When one is in love, one always begins by deceiving oneself, and one always ends by deceiving others. That is what the world calls a romance. The world has changed because you are made of ivory and gold. The curves of your lips rewrite history. One can always be kind to people about whom one cares nothing. They get up early because they have so much to do, and go to bed early because they have so little to think about. When we are happy, we are always good, but when we are good, we are not always happy.